Some time ago, I bought a squad of Tempestus Scions. I've heard that they still do pretty well in Kill Team, despite being a compendium unit. Or you can always proxy them as Kazarkin. While browsing for some nice color scheme, I came across Inquisition Stormtroopers with a mix of black, red and silver. I didn't stick precisely with their colors, I used some other similar regiment with cool stripes on the helmets. I've started with sorting out the minis and changing as many heads with unmasked faces to masked ones. And then I made my first mistake during this process. I've decided to apply base coat with a brush. It was awful and required many rounds of fixing and filling missed spots. I'm sure that the paint I've used is partially to blame, but still I should have used rattle can spray. Especially considering that black was to be my base layer for big parts of the minis. After this painful step, I went on to dry brush silver on all parts of the body armor, helmets, weapons, and parts of backpacks. I wanted the armor and the guns to be metallic, so after the base layer of silver dry brush, I applied several layers of glaze, black for the armor and red for weapons. Then I highlighted rims and armor edges with silver. I've also used silver to add edge highlights and some scratches on the guns. For the red uniforms, I've started with a brown base layer and worked it up through red up to highlights. To create white and red stripes along the helmets, I've started with a wider white stripe as a base layer and then added a thinner red one on top. For all screens, visors, lenses, I went with violet since I wanted to add an accent to the quite toned color scheme. I had a lot of fun with painting different symbols on the screens of the Science forearms. For the plasma gun, I also used violet. The backpacks have several parts. A blanket on top that I painted starting with brown base layer and working up to white highlights. For the box on the back I used silver, and for the battery pack at the bottom I've used copper and then added some patina using green wash. I wanted to make the medic's bag look like a really rusty metal box with the paint peeling off. So I've started with a rusty brown color, then sponged white on top, and to finish I've added green and brown washes. I didn't correct misaligned parts of the cable between the backpack and the gun and two models beforehand, and I didn't want to destroy already applied layers of paint. So I thought I will treat the gaps between the cable parts as exposed wires and painted them with copper. While digging deeper in the Inquisition Stormtroopers lore, I came across the role of a Drill Abbot. What a cool and at the same time funny name. That's pure, grimdark, grotesque 40k that I love. And also there's a great image of a Drill Abbot on Warhammer 40k community wikis that I used as an inspiration. I had some Black Templars initiates lying in a box, so I thought I could use one of them to create a Drill Abbot to serve as a proxy for the Science Sergeant. I've equipped him with a plasma pistol and a power weapon made from a Saurus's axe. I've added as many purity seals as possible and a nice skull hanging from the axe's handle. Then I had to sculpt an oversized hood, like in the image I used as an inspiration. It was my first time with sculpting. At first I tried using modeling clay, but it didn't work so well. So I've equipped myself with some milliput. It still didn't come out perfect, but for the first attempt at sculpting it was okay. I used similar colors as for Science. Black armor, red uniform. I've painted the tabard and hood grey to make it look like ordinary worn out fabric. I've decided to make shoulder pads white so that the red Inquisition symbol would look nice on it. It took me some time to freehand that symbol, but it was good fun. I also added some ornament on the hood. Face and bare forearms took me quite some time and several layers, starting with brown and then using a mix of red, yellow and white. I bought the minis with already very nice bases with a layer of MDF plates resembling industrial walkways. I started with dry brushing them in silver and then adding some rusty wash. I wanted to add a little bit of color in the holes in the walkways, so I thought there could be some toxic waste flowing under the walkways. I applied a mix of green and yellow paint and then added a layer of water-like resin from AK Interactive. And here are the Inquisition Stormtroopers ready to deal with some heretics.